Yo, what up, ComiXsense crowd, community crew? We are back again with another episode 2 of CSP. That is comiXsensory perception. That's what we're doing up in here. We got Comicsam in the house. Always dope to have Comicsam in the house. We have Ian Michael up in the house. And of course, Rich doesn't read up in the house. Real quick, you see the lights are on. We want them to shine brighter. So if you are watching on YouTube, I'm going to need you to thumbs up or thumbs down this video. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Jump over to Facebook. Join the Facebook group. Follow the Facebook page. Like us on Facebook. That's what it is. We're going to get these comments up. We're going to get into it. So what up, everybody, man? What a week, right?
What a week.
What a week in comics. Where to begin? Shout out to Chad Smith in the chat, by the way. Where to begin?
Should we begin with
I think we should.
what I just unpackaged?
Oh,
Are you talking about those two guys over my shoulder?
are we talking about? Are we going to talk about these? Are we going to talk about these? Is that what we're talking about?
Might be one of the most relevant things of this week from a spec standpoint.
So
there's
I don't want to toot comiXsense's horn, but toot, right?
Please toot,
right?
Please,
like
toot.
We reported on this before the world.
Yeah,
I don't want comiXsense to take all of the credit. This is something that obviously Wednesday, New Comic Book Day, anyone who read Iron Cat #1 and who has half of a speculative brain would have come to this conclusion. That having been said, comiXsense, us, the crew, we were absolutely way out in front on reporting this. And I'm going to venture to say we were responsible for the plus 3,750 copies sold prior to Spectacular Spider-Man Annual 4 popping up on Key Collector. I believe I made a few phone calls several days before, posted some messages several days before, then jumped into the comiXsense group. If you're listening out there in YouTube land, you want to be in the comiXsense community. We spec in that community. The entire community is pretty dope. We share spec, we give tips, posted these things. Couldn't give away the spoiler, but I posted my purchases hoping that people would see. I just purchased 4 copies. I really like this book. Go ahead and get this book. What is this book? What am I holding here, and why is it significant?
Go read Iron Cat #1.
We're gonna drop the bomb. Key Collector already dropped the bomb.
Oh yeah, everyone knows now. It's no surprise. It's already 25 to 30.
One sold for 30. They're listing for about 40.
I just looked for a good copy. Be about 35 now.
So what are we talking about to those in the audience, to those who may be new to comiXsense? What we're talking about is a book that, interestingly enough, when we spec'd on this book, when we began to push this book, Key Collector had this book listed as, shout out to Key Collector, by the way. Key Collector had this book listed as The Origin of Uncle Ben. Ben Parker. That's what Key Collector had it listed as. When we jumped on this book, we knew this book was the first appearance of a character named Tamara Blake, who would be later on it would be revealed that Tamara Blake is the new Iron Cat. We would find this out in Iron Cat #1. We had an inside track on this particular spec because, as I always say, and I don't want to hog the floor, I just want to, as I always say, a lot goes into spec, research, educated guesswork, and reading. Reading matters. So when I got my books, Rich does not read. Reading matters, bruh. It's a good thing you are a part of comiXsense because you don't have to read, right? You get the spec anyway. So then,
I mean, I love the covers. They're so colorful in the pictures, and it keeps my attention. That's exactly right.
That's why your wall looks pretty nice behind you.
I have you fine gentlemen to let me know what the books are about. So that's why I never worry about it.
So just to give you some insight, we got our Penguin order. We get our Penguin order several days. We get our Penguin orders as early as Wednesday of the week prior to release of new comic books. We got our books in. I read the books because we spec. So it's important for me. We have a spec stream, hashtag all the spec on Facebook. We curate spec books. So it is important for me to read the books. We want to know what we're talking about while we order these books. Read the book, saw the reveal, realized that while Black Cat number 11 is on fire on eBay on every hot 10 list, there's some heat on the table. We like affordable spec. This thing was like $3-4. Nobody's grading this book. It's almost 40 years old. No one was grading this book. They're probably sitting around in dollar bins, and we realized there's some heat on this book. So I let everybody know, called up my people, listen, get this book. We went, bought a bunch of copies. We made sure we posted our purchases in our group so that our group at the very least could say, hey, why are they purchasing so many copies? I should probably follow suit because it's very affordable. Tuesday, we then talked about it publicly, told people, listen, buy this book. You will find out why Wednesday. Everybody bought the book, plus 3,750% copies sold the previous week. Key collector reports on the hot 10 list, not the hot 10 list, on the key collector alert hot list. Hot because Tamara Blake is revealed to be the Iron Cat. And then later on that day, it becomes number 1 on the hot 20 list. Very dope. That is what it is. Spectacular Spider-Man Annual 4. Shout out to the comiXsense community, and shout out to you all, by the way.
And the funny thing about that is, if you actually go into the trending 20, so the next largest increase is 1,017%.
Oh, it's a huge.
I mean, this book is 3,750% increase.
And I'm going to give props to the comiXsense community for that. We were the driving force behind that. Shout out to the comiXsense community. Definitely influenced the market. I know, because when I bought, I know how many copies each of you on here bought. I know how many I bought, and I tracked the sales.
Yep.
And I watched the sales. I watched them.
They doubled. We talked about it. They doubled up every day. They doubled from Tuesday to Wednesday.
When we talked about it Tuesday night at 6:30, 42 copies sold. After we talked about it, 42 copies sold. You know how many copies sold Wednesday? 2 copies sold on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, when Key Collector reported on it, it went. So when Key Collector reported at plus 3,750% increase, that was comiXsense's, the comiXsense community's influence on that market.
So I'm going to ask you the question: is it a long-term book?
No.
And my answer is up in the air. And the reason why I say up in the air is because Tamara Blake could end up dead. First of all, shout out to Jed McKay, right? The concept of Iron Cat is dumb. But then Jed McKay grabs this first issue and writes fire. Like, it's a great book. Rich, I know you didn't read it. So I'm telling you, Rich, it was a great read. Ian, what do you think about the read?
It was a great read. And the best part is, second Wednesday in August, we get a second printing.
Right. It's going back to print. I personally want to speculate that Tamara Blake is here to stay. I see no reason why Black Cat should inherit that. I mean, she's got powers. She's already a cool character. I think Tamara Blake, however you want to pronounce her name, is here to stay. So plus it's almost a 40-year-old book in 2 years, right? I'm holding. If you bought more than one copy, obviously you can flip that book to support your habit, support your hobby, support local comic shops, what have you. But I'm going to sit on it for a while. I see no reason to get rid of it anytime soon, especially because the investment was minimal. And I don't think there's a lot of copies floating around in high grade. I'd be surprised to see how many 9/8s are on the census or how many start popping up on the CGC boards, because it's a book that, as I said to Rich, doesn't read. Why would you grade it? Why would anyone have graded it before now?
There were no CGC copies on eBay at all.
And I mean, anyone who went on and tried to buy a copy, it was very, very hard, because if they were being sold, there were like 1 or 2 photos, front cover, back cover. So
well, they were pretty much gone, and most of them listed weren't conditioned. Like, you had to dig through every single listing to to see what kind of condition they were. And then good luck finding a copy that didn't have the interior cover start to come through. So if you can find one that doesn't have, it looks like staining at first, but then upon inspection, when you open that up, this is...
You know that doesn't impact grading, right?
On the back side. No, but if you want to talk about eye appeal to a book...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're right about eye appeal. As far as actual grade, if you're looking for aftermarket value, it definitely doesn't impact grading. Mine happen to be pretty good. I have a couple more coming. Somebody did me dirty on eBay and canceled on me. Listen, I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, I got lucky on that. I didn't have that happen to me.
I got 2 more coming. They're already out, but somebody definitely canceled on me. But and I don't want to change the subject, but like my She-Hulk is that way. You can see the red.
Yeah.
From the inside cover.
So that doesn't affect grading at all?
No.
Okay.
Nope. No, you can. It's a white cover. You get that on light covers, depending on the advertisement on the other side of the cover, especially on books from the 80s. Depending on, like, they put a lot of cartoon advertisements, bright reds and bright oranges, and on white covers, sometimes you get that, not necessarily bleed through. You can just see the color from the other side of the advertisement on the other side of the cover through the cover.
So the reason why I ask if it's long term, right? Not only because of the relevance of the character, which we all just said, like Iron Cat's kind of a ridiculous character, but they're executing it pretty well. But when you look at the CGC census, there's 20 copies graded total. 11 of those are 9.8. 4 of them are 9.6. The copies that I'm getting in aren't slam dunk, near mint plus, maybe with the press, but the book has been probably sitting in dollar bins, 50-cent bins for forever. Could be an interesting, it's an annual, so it's not like they were super high printed, I'm guessing.
Right.
And it's a later annual. It's not like an annual #1. So it'll be interesting to see what it jumps up to if she becomes more and more relevant.
So I think we're going to have a cascading or sliding grade determiner here when it comes to value, right? It really depends on how many 9.8 show up. If there is a scarcity of 9.8s, then everything 9 and above has value. Because if there's a scarcity of 9.8s, then there's a scarcity of 9.6s, so on and so forth, right? Like, you can't imagine, but we'll have to see. When these 9.8s, you said there's 11? It's not a lot. 11 9.8s puts a premium on a 9.6. If there's 15, 20, 9, even 30, it'll probably be 3 times as many 9.6s when all is said and done, right? And let's just pretend that's all of the 9.8s. We don't know yet. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that is all of the 9.8s. You'll probably have 3 times as many 9.6s, which also puts a premium. We're talking less than 100, which also puts a premium on 9.4s.
Well, the trickle down effect.
Well, the other thing I'm saying is, if you have near mint copies, send them in now.
Yep, I got a near mint plus.
Send them in immediately, because if there's only 11 9.8s, 4 9.6s, 1 9.4, and 3 9.2s, and that's it. Then there's one 4.5. So weird, but that's
who graded that book? Who said I'm gonna grade this?
Let's see here.
Maybe it's a personal copy.
Spectacular Spider-Man Annual 4.
Their first book ever. Maybe
it's a personal thing. Like, if you
that would have to be the reason. Because they could just go get a better copy for $5.
Maybe it's their first book they ever bought.
Yeah, it would have to be the first book you ever bought.
Sentimental value, because like if you go on eBay and you find Captain America 317 or whatever, there's nothing special about the book, but it's graded in slab.
People slap some weird stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the echo effect.
But you gotta jump on that. If you have a near mint to near mint plus copy, you would be crazy not to jump at the potential of having one of the first 9 point whatever plus to hit eBay.
So let's talk about the echo effect, because I agree with you, Sam. We've mentioned the echo effect before. I've coined the term. I called it the echo effect when an obscure character, a character that nobody really cares
Oh, he froze like usual.
Y'all just lost me for a second.
It's okay.
When an obscure character is suddenly plucked from obscurity and thrown.
Oh, Sam's gone silent too.
A lesser known character that suddenly is getting her own TV show, pops up in the Hawkeye television show, has a solo book that dropped in 2022. Now everyone knows who Echo is. This is what we're getting with Tamara Blake. Not saying that it's going to go that far. What we're saying is this is a classic example of an obscure character just thrust into the limelight out of Spectacular Spider-Man Annual 4 is when we saw her. We saw her again a few times in one of the most recent runs of Black Cat, and that's it. Who knew Tamara Blake was going to matter? And here we are on YouTube talking about Tamara Blake. The Echo Effect. What else we got on the table, man? I love this book. There's a couple things I want to talk about really quickly. Ian, you can put yourself on pause if necessary. I want to jump ahead really quick.
So
while I have Sam on, go on.
Elephant in the room. I'm just going to ask outright. How many copies of that book did everyone buy?
10.
10?
I got 7.
I only got 2.
I got 3, and my wife also bought 2.
So I bought.
My wife has a better collection than I do.
We bought 6, and then we found 3 in the wild at Collectibles Galore, your local comic shop's favorite local comic shop. And we bought one of them and then gave the other 2, let Mike know what they were, and he put them aside for his own grading purposes. So we got 7 total.
Can we talk about how the hotness has been Spectacular Spider-Man for the past couple weeks too? Like you got the Spot, and you got Tamara Blake. Like
you're talking about. I mean,
all of you amazing Spidey collectors are going to be mad at me because you're tired of hearing me say it, right? If you collect the full run of Amazing Spider-Man, there is no reason you should not be putting together the complete run of Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Sam doesn't want me to drop.
You should not be putting together runs of any of them.
Is that's Sam's?
I'm telling you though, you're absolutely right, Ish. Like, not only should you be going after those, you should find
Marvel Team Up.
No, Sensational is criminally underrated, and then it merges into Friendly Neighborhood, and there's some low key keys just chilling in all those runs, just waiting.
So the reason why we say this, shout out to Amy Tucci, shout out to the Tucci's.
Why are you hiding in your office?
I'm live stream.
Very, very hard to complete those runs. People are breaking the bank to complete those runs, and in any grade, especially high grade runs, very hard to assemble in completion. So as we've seen first solo series, right? First solo series have become a thing because people are priced out of the market on first appearances. So as an alternative, there is value in having the first solo series. This is the same with the secondary and tertiary series for a grill run, i.e. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Spider-Man. As it becomes harder and harder to assemble these grill runs, the alternative runs are going to be your spectaculars, your web ofs, your adjectiveless Spider-Man, if you will.
And what you want to do is you want to find the runs.
The run.
Like, people are selling runs sometimes cheaper than you could find, Spectacular 28, 31, 64, now 94, 97, and now the annual number 4. You can probably find the whole run somewhere out there if you're searching hard enough for a better price than buying the keys individually.
So somebody's asking for spec. So Rich doesn't read. What do you got for us?
What do you mean? See, I love how you bring that up, that I don't read. See,
I got you covered. I got
brought
you
this up
covered.
to Trobes the one time that, you know what, I don't open my books because I don't want to affect the value.
What kind of spec? Are we talking dollar bin spec? Or are we talking like $20?
No, it's not necessarily dollar bin spec, but I got some $20 spec I'm about to hit you with right now. That's not spec. I got some $20 spec I'm about to hit you with right now. We're gonna talk about this really quick. So. The Mandalorian is dropping. It has been delayed. It will probably be allocated, as are the rumors. Come on, Ian, man. It will probably be allocated, as are the rumors. These are industry insider rumors that this book will be maybe allocated. We shall see. If so, there's a couple things I want to cover really quick, and I wanted to cover it early so we don't have to really dwell on it because Ian is not a Star Wars guy. That's okay. We are talking about investment spec. Whether you like it or not, we're talking about investment.
Talk it up.
So then, I'm going to show you guys a couple books. We're going to talk about it. We got Sam on. Sam can really talk about it. These are the books you should be going to get now. Go get them now. I'm going to start off with Star Wars Insider, featuring The Mandalorian. I like the comic book appearance as much as I like the Star Wars Insider because this is a magazine, a comic book is a comic book. Two different markets. The comic book market is a little bit more fervent than the magazine collecting market. But since we're talking about Star Wars Insider, I also like the first cover appearance of the Marshal, which just released, about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago?
Yep.
First cover appearance of the Marshal. Sam, you following here?
Oh, I'm following. I could bring out some Star Wars Insiders for you if you want me to. You should be looking at Star Wars collectors are a different breed.
Well, I'm just kicking it with the people about some Mandalorian spec right now.
Oh, that's fine. I would say
all of these books just recently released.
Make sure if you see Star Wars Insiders anywhere, you really assess what kind of stack you're going through because there are some big dollar. I'm talking like $200 to $400 Star Wars Insider covers that people go nuts for. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's again a very unique, a very niche collector, someone who's in a very niche market. So with this, when this Mandalorian drops, right? I talked about this Tuesday. You're gonna get tons of first appearances, in probably the first 8 issues of this thing. You're gonna get tons of first appearances. If you assume the book is going to parallel the television series,
it's definitely going to.
Then you're gonna get tons of first appearances.
You're gonna get a first in pretty much every single book. So,
which means this book, which just released last week, this cover appearance of Fennec Shan, go get it now. This one, Sam, you could bring these all up on the screen if you want. Go get it now. This is Star Wars Darth Vader, number 21. Go get this book now. These are all their first appearances ever on a comic book in any form. They will not trump their actual first appearances within a story, but they're going to trump their first cover appearances, and there are value in first cover appearances. Not the Bo-Katan. You're looking at the character who's flying above her. Her first appearance on a cover. That's the character that matters with this cover, played by Sasha Banks in the television series. That's the character that matters on this cover. You want to go get all of these covers. They're still affordable. Most of them, with the exception of the Mandalorian cover, this one, are...
Oh. Cut out.
Can we get him better internet connection?
He has Fios.
I didn't cut out.
So you're going to get,
Sam did.
I have a full list of everything that's going to be dropping, but, number 1, you're getting 5 first appearances.
And you're getting a first appearance on that C cover as well, of a character who's never appeared in comics.
Plus a clear cameo of Grogu based on some pages I saw. If they're gonna take the trade and put it right into single issues. So there's some rumors about that. And then number 2, you already saw that 1 in 50 that who is it? Lashley, I think. Someone's doing it, and it looks awesome. You've got Grogu and Mando right on there. with his first full appearance.
Yeah,
It's
Grogu will probably cameo on the last page.
It's going to get pretty crazy. Number 4, you should be getting Cara Dune if they keep her in based on what has been happening. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but you can't remove her from Star Wars lore, you know. And then Fennec Shand, issue 5. I think that is
Well, we can't discount his mechanic either.
possibly going to be one of the biggest appearances.
We can't discount his mechanic.
No, I forget when she
appears early on.
I don't know if that's number 7 or number.
No,
I
earlier
forget.
than that. Earlier than that. It's the first place he goes when he gets Grogu.
Probably
So
issue number 2 then. Maybe
I was thinking number 3.
number
issue 1 and 2
also is the Armorer, which is
Yeah, the armor is going to be big.
huge.
The armor is going to be big. The armor is such a.
Are we sure he has Verizon?
I'm pretty
The-
sure.
So-
that,
If
So-
you're collecting for if you're collecting for investment, you want the run of this is one of those issues. This is one of those series, The Mandalorian, where you want the run. You
So-
want the run.
here's the
there's
question.
no doubt about that.
For someone who doesn't collect Star Wars, nor doesn't care about Star Wars, is this a run that someone who doesn't generally invest in Star Wars and just gives books away, is this something that they should pick up?
Yes. Yes,
I mean-
look at the popularity of The Mandalorian in general. It won what? It was not won, but it was nominated and I think won some Emmys.
Would
It was one of the most popular series, period, on Disney Plus. It became Baby Yoda became a cultural phenomenon. Like it
It was the
Mandalorian is
flagship
legitimately
Disney
pop
Plus
culture.
show.
Yes, and I am arguably saying that The Mandalorian is more popular than Boba Fett.
It's the reason Disney Plus has as many subscribers as it has. It was the flagship show. It was the reason everyone went and subscribed to Disney Plus.
to
They
piggyback
dropped
off,
Mando.
to piggyback off of Ian though, if obviously for someone who doesn't do Star Wars, me, I don't read. Is this entire run still, affordable to get?
Oh yeah, let's say
It's going to be cover
if
price. It
I
hasn't come
told
out yet.
you, hey, I'm gonna give you a CGC 9.8 copy of Spider-Man. One of the first things someone's probably gonna look at is like a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man #1 from 1990, which has like 19,000 copies graded or something like that
Right.
in 9.8. But it's because it's iconic. People love Spider-Man. People that don't read comics have that book. Well, for anyone who loves Star Wars, and if they see, oh, Mandalorian went to a comic book, oh, I got to get that #1. Oh, wait, that's not the first appearance of Baby Yoda. I'm gonna go buy #2. Oh, I should just get the whole series. I think it's a good spec that won't go crazy per se, because it's not like it's a secret,
Right.
but you should be buying it.
It's the reason why I pulled these covers out.
Yeah.
Yep.
The reason why I pulled these covers out, a lot of these covers sold out. Most recent one, Fennec Shand, is gone, out of stock. How many copies do you think are floating around? How many copies do you think are going to be necessary to meet demand?
Oh, I think
Do
there's
more than
out there, but
say well, not. I wouldn't imagine Marvel printed greater than 100,000 copies. It's not their average. It's not the
No.
standard for Marvel, and that's what I mean. There are more than 100,000 people that collect comics in spec. Look how crazy the market went over Something Is Killing the Children #1 with 65,000 copies across 3 covers. 65,000 copies across 3 covers. And again, I'll give you another example. Amazing Spider-Man 300 is not a rare book.
I mean,
At
the same could be said about Ultimate Fallout #4.
Well, that's rarer than Amazing Spider-Man 300. Like a lot rarer. Amazing Spider-Man 300 was super overprinted. Tons of that thing. Tons in 9.8. Tons of 9.8s of Amazing Spider-Man 300. tons of 9/8 of New Mutants 98, tons. But you're right. Ultimate Fallout 4 is it? I mean, well, it's hard on that one because Ultimate Fallout 4 wasn't. The print run on that wasn't comparable to Amazing Spider-Man 3. Amazing Spider-Man 300. There's a lot of them. A lot of them.
What other spec?
Oh yeah, we don't got to stick with the spec. I wanted to talk about a bunch of stuff. We can go spec, but I wanted to talk about Miss Marvel #3.
You asked what everyone's specking on. I want to hear.
Yeah.
What are you picking up? When you go to a comic shop, what are you searching for?
You drop yours.
I'll show you.
Show us.
Avengers #240.
Okay.
The Mystery of Jessica Drew. Jessica
Okay.
Drew was not in the landscape at all for quite some time. And this is the story basically of how they bring her back from the astral plane.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a relevant book in the history of Jessica Drew. And I think we're going to see a lot of her story. Maybe not this in general, but this is an underrated key in her history that you can get for like a couple bucks. I say pick it up. In addition to her origins, so she has a couple miniseries by, I believe, Bendis and Malieve that are not easy to find. And
Are you talking Jessica Jones?
no, Jessica Drew.
Jessica Drew. Okay.
Yep. And then
When you
there's
said
also-
Bendis and Malieve, it threw me off.
No, Malieve does a series with her.
Mhm.
It's called or maybe they just did covers for it, but it's called The Origin. The Luna brothers also did part of it, but it's criminally underrated. It's a really crucial part of her story. Hard to find now also. And then I know that it's not a surprise because it's arguably one of the biggest specs of this year, but man, is it dropping in price.
We can't hear your mic.
Go buy more.
Yeah, Elsa Bloodstone is so for me. Obviously, if we're talking about 2022 spec, I mean, I just read Black Panther that's dropping next week. You get.
He's giving us the spec and he freezes.
I think he does it on purpose.
I don't like that spec though.
I don't know.
No.
There's not a lot of detail.
I don't like that spec though.
Say again.
I don't like it. I think it's all right. I don't think it does anything different for him.
You got to start grading your Tosins.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I
You
just
got to
don't
start
think-
grading your Elsas.
Yeah, I don't know if 7 is like anything game changing for me, but what it does is it cements #3.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
so you seen 7?
I saw 7.
Yeah, we got 7 in today. I mean, it gives you some insight into more. I don't want to spoil anything, but you get some insight into his abilities, a little bit of his origin. Listen,
And it looks like
Tosin.
he had some really good interplay there with Shuri, which that's the future. If you're really looking to MCU possibilities, that connection and relationship is crucial. So I like the fact that they're building on that.
Just a second. I want to get off. I think I might be on Wi-Fi. Oh.
So, Rich, what do you got?
Me personally,
What do you
What are
want
you
to do?
specking on?
I mean, there's always a couple. I mean, honestly, if I ever see Sam in a shop, Sam always leads me to the Star Wars. So Star Wars came, either. But one thing in particular that I always look for is always #1s of limited series. Always.
Hello.
Always.
Good call.
No matter what it is, I've got I think 5 or 6 Magic #1s, Iceman. I've got 3 of those because I just organized all my books. I mean, everything. I've got 2 of those. I mean, I literally. It was honestly ever since talking to Ish about it, and I've talked to Sam about it, talked to Trobes. I mean, why not? Because if some of these books, if you can't afford their first appearance, well, the next best thing would be a limited series on certain ones, not all of them. And again, for someone like me who doesn't read, but still does enough research and obviously talks to you guys and understands what you guys get into and how comiXsense works. I mean, yeah, I mean, first issues are always my thing when it comes to limited series, always.
So Corey,
Get a newsstand too.
Yeah.
Corey's asking, isn't there a rumor Elsa's supposed to be in the Werewolf by Night special? I did hear that rumor. My personal opinion, Corey, is that Elsa will show up in the second semester she'll be in the new class of
Lyra,
Strange Academy. What up?
Lyra.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Lyra. Lyra
Yeah.
Bloodstone will show up in Elsa. Elsa is probably going to show up in. People are saying she's going to show up in Blade. Actually,
I hope she shows up in Blade.
right. People are saying she's going to show up in Blade. Lyra Bloodstone, in my opinion, that's where you want what Sam popped up, that Death of Doctor Strange. Lyra Bloodstone, in my opinion, as I read the book, you got to read if you're specking. They say to her the last page while they're sitting at the table having breakfast, they ask her if she registered for the academy. There's only one academy that I could think of, a magic family, which the Bloodstones are, that they would be referring to, and that would be the Strange Academy. So I'm expecting that Lyra Bloodstone will pop up at some point. Strange Academy runs in 16 issue arcs. The first arc is the first semester. So I'm imagining the next arc will cover the next semester. Thus, a new class will also come in. I believe Lyra will be in that class, as well as the cousin of Reptile will be in that class. But what am I specking on? When I go to the store, I look for Arana.
Good luck.
I mean, I just bought. We just bought a few.
Yeah,
like
but
you can
that's-
still find Arana in dollar bins.
North.
I'm not talking her first appearance. I'm talking her solo.
Here though,
I'm not talking her first appearance. I'm talking her solo.
No, I know her solo's like
Yeah.
a $400 9.8.
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but
Not-
her solo's a $3-4 raw 9.8.
It's crazy, man. I love that book.
It's a $3-4 raw 9.8. So I generally try to pull
Yeah,
Aranas.
you're right, Jason. She was.
I'm with Rich. I like, obviously, we did a whole show called those old Marvel limited series. I like those old limited series in many cases, especially the thing with those limited series. I buy them out of dollar bins whenever I can, multiple copies, Magic #1s, Hercules #1s, Hawkeye #1s, like you name it. You can Nightcrawler #1s, you name it.
Did you just say that you bought a Hawkeye book?
I bought Hawkeye #1, yeah. I did.
Well, Ian, don't worry. He's going to flip that.
But I bought Hawkeye #1 before.
Because he's not the best superhero, so don't worry.
He's gonna flip it to
You
me.
want to buy those limited series. I'm with Rich. I can't stress that enough. Those limited series double as first solo series for many people.
Yeah.
Any Marvel horror books, also, whenever I see them in the wild, I'm snatching them up.
Give an example, Sam. Like, what are a few that, like, if you found them in the or anywhere, what would be some titles that you'd grab?
Too direct.
Any of the Legion of Monsters
Okay.
one shots or the main series that they did in the 2000s,
Okay.
buy them all day. Right now I'm actually staying away from Morbius, but any like of the R.L. Stine Man Thing also that came out a couple of years ago. If we see Man Thing, that might be where they pull from. And then you look back at like the Adventure into Fears, they're still relatively cheap books with a lot of first appearances and some key, like Adventure into Fear 10 I just grabbed from Kingpin for, a good price. It's the first Man Thing solo story. Like, you don't know what they're going to end up pulling from in the horror spectrum.
Right.
And you can't always bring in characters like Dracula unless you do it in a Marvel way, just because of copyright and Universal Monsters and stuff like that. So I think we might get some like off-kilter ancillary characters, and there's going to be some big potential out of all Marvel horror coming up.
Well, do you think that Marvel horror is actually going to be a horror line, or are they going to do a Marvel monsters line, and we get things like Werewolf by Night, we get the Midnight Suns, we get a Ghost Rider, Blade, even some iteration of Dracula.
I want everything occult. I think it's a side of the Marvel history that hasn't been tapped into enough.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what they did with Blade and Ghost Rider, those movies were fun. Not always the best, but fun. And Blade's in particularly, like, really well executed.
Did
Like,
you put Ghost Rider in the same category as Blade? As
No,
far
I
as
know, but like,
is that what happened here?
go to the later Blades, and you're like, but there's
Like,
a ton of incredible potential there.
Blade 1 is the father of the successful Marvel film.
In addition, Black Knight, anything Black Knight, and I'm not talking about old school Avengers Black Knight.
Dane
I'm
Whitman.
talking new Black Knight series. I'm
All right,
buying it all.
I'm going back to taking that nap.
So that 2021 Black Knight series is such a underrated spec. That limited series that dropped in 2021.
You have any
were-
Blade?
Curses with so many significant things happen in that
Number
run.
5.
Number 5, number 1. Number 1, number 5.
And go look at the ratios.
Crazy. There's 1 in 25s? Crazy.
And they're hot.
Crazy.
Stephanie
And
Hunt.
And the funny thing is, those books are in dollar bins right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
You should have that run. If we're
Well,
talking
number
about
5
horror.
Number 5 is not easy to find it for.
So if we're talking about horror and we're talking about that line of thinking and that Curse of the Ebony Blade, you wanna look at
The comment.
Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer's Supreme #1. I prefer the action figure variant cover with Nina the Conjurer, but it's also the first appearance of the Demon Rider, which I also would suggest Spirit Rider #1. I would suggest Spirit Rider #1 second print. I'd suggest Spirit Rider that whole run. And I'd also suggest King in Black Ghost Rider, the Jin Bartel Spirit Rider cover. Like, go get Spirit Rider while Spirit Rider is super affordable. Again, I just dropped it. You want Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme #1, preferably that Nina.
He's got like stroke face going on right now.
Also, you want to go get King in Black, the Spirit Rider cover. You want to go get Spirit Rider #1, that run actually, and then you want to get that second print of #1. Since we're talking horror, Demon Rider became Spirit Rider. Love the Spirit Rider spec, but so we could talk spec all day. We could just do a whole show on spec, right? But I want to kick it about Miss Marvel #3. I want to kick it about all the things that transpired this week in comics. Miss Marvel #3. Did everybody watch it?
Nope.
All right. Nobody watched it. Are y'all out on Miss Marvel #3? Is this what we're doing?
It's
No.
the end of the fiscal quarter. I mean, I don't have time.
Oh, this is what we're doing. This is what
It's
we're
the
doing.
end of, you know what? It's because he probably was watching his dose of Hawkeye. Because it's okay.
He's probably
I did-
watching Hawkeye reruns.
I mean,
at
I
the
know
end of the
Hawkeye
fiscal
is,
quarter.
I did fall asleep to Hawkeye the other night on
Yeah, I
TV.
bet you. Yeah,
Really,
Hawkeye fell asleep to Hawkeye. Okay.
Portal to the Multiverse or something. Are we? We're at the newer multiverse or something like that, right? I don't know what's
On
going
#3. I mean, I'm sorry I didn't watch it because we're about to talk about it.
I mean, I don't care. That's fine.
So Miss
I
Marvel
gotta watch
#3.
Stranger Things after this stream.
Miss Marvel #3. So what is exciting about Miss Marvel is for a Marvel television show, we are getting we haven't had more cameos that I can think of in a Marvel TV show than what we're getting. Like, we got Clandestine, we got Damage Control, we got Cameron, we got the Red Dagger, we got the Red Daggers.
Wait, we got Red Dagger already?
Yeah, we got Red Dagger. Like, we're just getting
Ooh,
gifts.
I should go find those books.
We're getting gifts. We're getting gifts in Miss Marvel #3. In this Miss Marvel series, as far as they're really digging into her lore, and as a result, we're getting, and it's one of the reasons why you want to get these books where like an America Chavez, where America Chavez is coming to movies and potentially TV, so they put out these 5-6 issue limited series, because it's not like Miss Marvel has tons and tons of books with which to draw characters from. Right. So more than likely, most of the characters that pop up in these series at some point in time are going to pop up on TV. Red Daggers popped up. Clandestine popped up. Cameron has popped up. Who knew Damage Control? Obviously, we saw him in Spider-Man, but who knew Damage Control was going to be relevant in an MCU? Damage Control? Is anybody specking on Damage Control? Is it on Key Collector? Are y'all running to get Damage Control #1? Think about it. Like, who knew? Who knew?
No, I'm not.
I'm probably gonna go grab Damage Control.
No.
I'm probably grabbing Damage Control.
They were in the MCU already.
We're saying no now, and then in 6 years, when Damage Control is all over the MCU and they do the same conspiracy that caused Civil War, then people are gonna remember who was responsible for Civil War. Damage Control. It was a money grab, right? Like, Damage Control turned out to be the culprit behind the major event of the early 2000s. The major event that pit Hero again.
I don't know.
See, Rich, you would know this if you read the books.
See, now here's the thing. I'm expecting all of this during the show, and that's totally fine. And for the upcoming episodes, I get it. But,
I don't know.
But
I think that the Miss Marvel spec, it is what it is. You find it, you flip it.
Yeah, it's not a long term, I don't think. And again, I don't read, but for the show in its own right, I think the show is good because it's attracting a younger audience, a lot younger audience. I mean, not me, but I mean, I personally, I like it for what it's worth and what it's opening up the doors for. And the fact that Nish, which you pointed out, that you're getting all these first appearances and all these people coming into the show and in the book. I mean, it's one of those things that it opens the door for an ultimate, unlimited possibilities with these characters.
Yo, tell Kim, definitely appreciate her for watching. But I mean, it's a YouTube show where we talk, comics, and we talk like this is what we do.
Hey man,
about Miss Marvel spec, in my opinion, and this is what maybe we're at this point. We talked about how the timeline with introducing characters and where the content is now right here and here. So if you were speccing a couple of years ago on a lot of these books, now's the time to capitalize. You move them.
Yep.
In my opinion, you're not buying a lot of them. I'm not buying a lot of them. I'm moving.
You're talking about like Red Dagger, what have you?
Red Dagger, all that.
Right.
I need to go in my boxes. I need to find that and list that immediately. That Kamala, sitting on.
I mean, I think you're a little late to the party on moving them.
On the Red Dagger?
Mm-hmm.
No,
I mean,
right.
what? They'll be in a couple more episodes. Perfect. Whatever.
I mean, yeah, but you and I both know
Like her
that
sitting on that lamp.
you want to move these things
You sell that.
right before the series drops.
No, because they don't. You have to move them when they appear.
Well,
he's got to be right to a point though, Ish, because if you're selling said book, but if you sell it before this character is even introduced in the show, and say the character is never introduced, then you jump the gun.
it depends.
Right now,
right?
I'm not selling
So-
Amulet.
So no, you're right.
Appearance of
You're
Amulet
right.
is gonna
But it
blow
really
up.
depends. It really depends on how you assess the game, so to speak, right? Like, you're not gonna hold on to Shuri meets Riri till the movie comes out.
No.
You're not. If you do, there's a problem because that book already
But
saw.
that's
It
a
already
guarantee.
saw.
You
Say again.
maximize
That's
that
a
book.
guarantee. You know that's happening.
Right, because that's what I'm getting at. Like, you have to
We
be able to
don't know
assess the
that
game.
Red Dagger
Yeah,
is
you're
there.
right. You're right. You're
We
right.
don't know
You're
that
right.
Amulet's still not there.
Well,
I
we
hope.
knew Red Dagger was coming, but we have to wait for the confirmation. We knew because they told us.
Yeah, but in like actual physical form, like
Well, they cast him. We knew that he was
Mm.
coming. They cast him, so we knew he was coming. We knew Cameron was coming.
we knew. I knew about Cameron, like, but they're also not. I feel like it's a much lower tier spec than Riri and
Then whom?
Yeah, who's the second, Sam?
like a Riri and Shuri,
Okay.
Of course,
like
of course.
that's.
But how many
where-
champions are lower tier spec? There's a lot.
So I think that's the tough part. Also, is most of the Miss Marvel spec is D at best tier spec that you're just hoping is gonna pop off.
Hmm.
And when it does, with an appearance in a show, you got to move them. You shouldn't be going out and buying first camera and
Right.
Red Dagger. Unless you're finding them in your bins
Right.
or your LCS bins, then all day. But I wouldn't be on eBay searching them out.
Right. I mean, they're not going to drop to dollar bin books, but you'd move them now. I like to keep key books though, because you never know when the echo effect kicks in.
Agreed.
And Red Dagger becomes, you know what I mean? Baron Red Dagger, the leader of the new Red Hood. You know what I mean?
That's why you're grabbing books like Aranya, right? Like that is potential for echo effect in across the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
We don't know which spider characters we're gonna get, but when we do, dear God.
Yep.
They're all gonna go absolutely crazy. And it's really
Arana matters, so she features in Black Widow.
100 of them. Over 100 spider characters.
Yeah.
We're all going to be rolling in spider money. Like,
Miles Morales 38 is not a book to sleep on right now, while you can still get it for cover price. Go get that Miles Morales 38.
Yo, go buy more Peter Porker #1 that's still cheap.
You and I both bought it last year at 3D. We were the only two people who bought the Peter Porker #1.
Spider-Man Noir has plummeted in price right now. Like, all of these Spider-Man specs, these multiverse, which you've talked about a lot, Spidey specs are low. It's a good time to buy. So yeah, Mangaverse Spider-Man. Heck yeah, Corey. Like, that's another one.
Talking about Spider-Man spec, of course I never got to put in my 2 cents, but I have an inside source. You need to buy Spider-Gwen and buy as much of it as you can. That's all I can say.
Spider-Gwen. Well, I mean, we're talking about the two most important Spider-Man multiversal characters, right? Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen. Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen. And I'm glad Ian mentioned that, because we're talking about Marvel's multiverse, and Spider-Gwen has a series out right now. I can't stress this enough when it comes.
Gwen is my favorite, as you can see with the second row of books behind me. But like, it is hands down. Not just the keys, but the series are going to be really hard to get.
I think it's the dumbest name in comics.
Oh, I love it.
I prefer Ghost Spider.
My daughter loves Ghost Spider because they have. So this is what Marvel's been doing, which is pretty cool. Like, they have a Spidey and Amazing Friends, which came out in Free Comic Book Day, by the way, this year, and it's Peter, Miles, and Gwen as
a Disney cartoon
all together, and
it's a Disney
cartoon. This new wave of Spidey fans.
You haven't seen it on Disney? I can't remember. It's Disney, Nickelodeon. My niece, my goddaughter watches it.
Yeah. Sorry, Ian.
No, it's fine. What's funny is I just finished up my last run this past week.
I'm with Ian on that. I'm with Ian on the Spider-Gwen.
That looked good, buddy.
I'm with Ian on Spider-Gwen. You should be grabbing all of Spider-Gwen's #1s, the keys in there. We're talking about, look at that Ultimate Fallout 4 run, right? Really, really tough. Not really an affordable run. Spider-Gwen is probably arguably the second most popular character to come out of the Spider-Verse. Or
what you want to do is find the keys from the run. Like, you look at
24, 25, 31.
You look at Edge, like it's gone. It's on a runaway train. You're paying $1,800, $1,900 in a 9.8. Like, that's impossible now.
It's the second 21st century Grail.
It is.
You're talking about these guys, right?
Yep.
But
actually, I'm talking about Gwen, right?
What you should be looking at is the other keys and the other characters from her universe that have come into play.
Ian, throw those Fallouts up again.
I'm missing #1.
Oh, that's an easy one.
You would think it'd be easy. But...
Sam over here flexing. Ian flexing.
Rich, what do you got?
I mean, I don't have an Ultimate Fallout, so that's my biggest regret, is not getting it when I should have.
Go out and find this.
I got a ton of them. Both prints.
Yep.
Both prints.
Find them and hold them.
That Gwenum cover. I like the second print because I love that blue Spider-Gwen logo.
Notoriously hard 9.8 because of the black cover.
Yeah.
First Gwenum, arguably.
Yep. The cover is the next issue. So with Gwen, right? Again, we said it. Spider-Gwen, Edge of Spider-Verse #2. There's two true grails in the 21st century, right? Ultimate Fallout 4, that 1 in 25. That Spider-Gwen, that Spider-Gwen Edge of Spider-Verse #2, 1 in 25 in particular. And do not sleep. Listen, people sell the subsequent prints of Edge of Spider-Verse #2 far less at a far lower price than the first print. I don't think that is going to be the case for long. Do not sleep. There are 5 prints. Don't sleep on that 5th print. Don't sleep on that 4th print. Do not sleep on that 3rd print. Do not sleep on the 2nd print. I do not think that they will stay significantly lower than the first print for long.
Go find the, what is it, Comic Bug? Which is arguably the 6th print. They, wow, have gone absolutely crazy.
Pop it up.
No. Absolutely crazy. This was not this much.
Pop it up on the screen.
All right.
Cheapest 5th print ish. Cheapest 5th print is $100. Man,
that's pretty cheap compared to the first print.
This was
absolutely. I'm not saying it's not.
This book was never this price, but it looks like it has gone crazy. There's 2 prints of it.
Wow.
At one point, people were saying it was the 6th print of this book. But wow, I cannot believe the price on this now. That is absolutely ridiculous. So here, it's how do you say your name? Sia It's a beauty.
Yeah, it's nice.
And there's a sketch version also.
Is this a store exclusive?
Yeah, Comic Bug.
That's dope. That was a nice, really, really nice cover. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to scream. Do not sleep on those subsequent prints of Edge of Spider-Verse #2. Don't sleep on them. I have a feeling they have lower print runs or at least lower circulations. Don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them. Do not. If you're collecting, first of all, you already know what I'm going to say. If you bought the first print, fortify your investment with the subsequent prints. I'm always going to say that. I'm going to keep saying that. But I don't think that those prints are going to stay far away in value for long. Ian, I got all 6 right here next to me. So funny you flash those. That's Chris Johnson. So yeah, again, we talk about the multiverse characters. Ian brought up Spider-Gwen spec. That's great spec because we're still talking about it. Those first her solo series #1 is still like, I mean, you can get it for $10. Corey asked, what about facsimiles? Let's talk about that really quick. So, Corey, I spec on the facsimile market, I spec on the True Believers market, I spec on the reprint market. These are, you're not going to see a short-term return on any investment on these things. You got to look at it like a Golden Records reprint or some of these JCPenney reprints or some of these reprints that come with toys, right? What happens is some of these books, most of these facsimiles and these reprints are books that we're already priced out of the market on. Just priced out of the market on it. You can't get them. So I believe personally that as an alternative, these reprints will have value at some point in time. Not today, not tomorrow, not next year, maybe not next year. Down the line. Some of them have immediate return. If you look at the facsimile edition of Uncanny 266, right? Yep. Like that's not a cover price book. That. Nope. Yeah, it's not a cover price book. There are a couple. Amazing Fantasy 15, not a cover price book. Journey in the Mystery, not a cover price book. So, and it's because we're priced out of the market. There's a new market, right? So these books, I'd go back and grab those old Marvel Milestone editions and just put them away. Yep. All of those reprints, there's some Sam and I were talking about it recently. Those Marvel Collectors Classic, those chromium cover reprints. Go look at some of those reprints. Crazy prices right now. Crazy prices on those things. You could get that thing for $10. The X-Men one, it's like $50-$60 right now.
I just bought one for $40 because I needed it for my Uncanny run.
Right.
For the milestone.
Oh, the milestone? Yeah, that milestone.
Milestone's gone up. Milestone's gone up.
Look at the popularity of them on our live sales on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
We sell through those things in a hurry.
Yeah, we got a stack. We have a stack that we're getting ready to sell probably this Tuesday. A stack.
Yeah, I saw that stack. I saw what was in it. Yeah.
First Blades, Amazing Fantasy 15, Hulk number 181, 182, bunch of cool facsimiles in there.
So the very elusive Anthony Trobes is going to be present on Tuesday as well. He's not on vacation this week.
Supposed to be present tonight.
It must be nice. He's on vacation. You know, one book I forgot actually. One book that if I do see in the comic shop, I always grab because it's still somewhat cheap enough is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. 100% every single time, no matter what, you know, as long as it's a key, every key in that series I grab. Every single one, because a lot of them are still very, very affordable. For the most part.
Yeah, with the exception of Kingpin's Daughter, Devin Dinosaur, number 1. I'll throw out some names of some characters.
You mean that one?
Yeah, Kingpin's Daughter. Yeah.
That I got for $30.
What's that? A 9.2?
9.8.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'll throw out some characters. I'm gonna just throw out some characters now. We're gonna play a little game here. I'm gonna throw out some Marvel characters, and I want you guys to tell me. And what I'm gonna do is these are characters that are still on the table. They're still on the table. I'm gonna throw them out, and I want you guys to tell me, okay, this is what I think, or this is the potential. Should we be on it? I already have my opinion, but I just want to see where your guys head at. So the Sentry.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
I'm with you on that. 100%. It is only a matter of time before the Sentry. The Sentry. But Ian, talk about it. Why are you saying no on the Sentry?
I think it's going to have the same marketability as Superman.
Superman is ridiculously marketable. Like, everybody would love to have a book with the same marketability as Superman. Wait a minute.
In my mind, Sentry is
compare it to Superman right now. You just compare Sentry to Superman to one of the most iconic superheroes ever.
The bar. The model for superheroes.
So give me some Superman spec right now then.
Well, we're not specking on Superman, but I'm specking on. Hold on.
Superman spec?
How about Super Sons? How about Battle of the Super Sons that just got announced? Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent versus Superman and Batman coming to a TV screen near you very soon.
So can I just tell you one thing? So I've been reading Batman Catwoman. They just finished up the series. Lo and behold, you know, it was a great series, kind of all over the place. A lot of things happened. The last issue, you know what they do? They pull in Superman and Lois Lane. I put the book down. I don't even.
Yeah, but see, we're not talking about our personal feelings towards these characters. That's not how you spec or invest.
I'm just saying I don't see the appeal of Sentry.
Okay. But I just want to make it clear, comparing it to the marketability of Superman is probably not like. It's one of the most iconic characters of all time. Whether we like Superman, I'm not a Superman fan.
It was a bad comparison.
I'm buying Jonathan Kent. I'm buying Superman, Son of Kal-El.
Yeah.
Can we? Never mind.
No, Sam. Because I got another. I want to hear everyone's opinion, and I'm going to drop another character.
Sorry, I was going to go down a rabbit hole on the hate of DC spec. And
I was going to drop a DC character next.
Why I'm specking on a lot of DC right now, but we can save that. But
get there. We still playing this game.
No. I want to talk about the Sentry for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the dichotomy of the Void
Right.
versus the Sentry
Right.
would be
Much more
really,
compelling character.
really, really cool on screen. Do I think that the Sentry is cool? No. No. Like I appreciate him as a character. I love that New Avengers run so much.
What? It was great.
I
The
love
Bendis run?
I love it. It's one of the best runs of Avengers, period. But for how much they wanted to make his history like pretty succinct and make sense, man, they made it so convoluted.
Mhm.
So I think they can do it right. Do I think they'll do it soon? No, not yet. I
Okay.
think if we
Next
see
character.
him, she's going to come out of like a battle world or multiverse situation.
Next character. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Supreme.
Oh, it's funny because I just bought Supreme Power.
I buy number 1 every time I see it.
Every time I see it. Yep.
And I buy Youngblood number 2 every time I see it.
Yep. Yeah.
So, what do you think?
I'm
mean,
not
I buy
gonna lie, I've got multiple copies of both.
So, you're saying we buy this book. We sit on it, we wait.
Yeah.
It's one of those what ifs, you know. It's kind of like, for me, I compare that book to like a Deathmate Black. I buy it every single time.
Every single time.
Every single
Every time.
Wait,
Every time.
I'm sorry, did you say Deathmate Black?
Yeah.
Yeah, Image Valiant, Deathmate Black, first appearance of Fairchild in Gen 13.
Gen 13.
Huh. I
Who
literally
are
just found
DC, who are now DC characters.
I
Correct.
just found that book because a buddy of mine gave me a long box of like a ton of indie books, and I literally just went through it recently, and I found like Black, the Red. I found all of those.
You can get it in dollar bins. The one who matters in that group though is really Fairchild.
Correct. And then
Okay.
there's a Deathmate Black Gold. And so it's like there's a Deathmate Gold, not that one, but it's a Deathmate Black, and it's gold variant of the black. And that one's hard. That's money.
Here's another one. I got a list of characters I'm throwing out. Damian Wayne.
Yes. All day.
Literally just came. No, not that
There you
one.
go.
Where is it?
That's all you got? That's all you got?
No, I have a 9.8 that is like right here. Oh, here it is. Just came in about a week and a half ago.
Hard book to get in high grade too. Black and red.
Dude, I used to have so many, and then I got rid of about 51 slabs in a trade.
So what are we saying about Damian
Four
Wayne?
of those 9.8s were in there. I love the book. I love Damian Wayne spec all day.
So what'd you just show me?
655, 656.
You just showed me a 9.8 of that?
Yep. 655,
How about
1 in 10.
How about the 1 in 10?
Oh, I got a 9.8 around here of that somewhere.
That's the cameo, right?
It is.
Yes.
That's the first full appearance right there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No variant for that.
No variant. And then you got your first cover appearance.
Correct. And then you have what I think is the sleeper is 666.
Right. So 666 is, I mean, it pops up on Key Collector. It pops up on people's radar. Damian Wayne, this is the most underrated key right now in comics, period.
Yep.
The most underrated. If y'all are out there watching in YouTube land, you can get the first appearance of Damian Wayne for like $40 in high grade raw.
Yep.
I don't understand why a book that came out in 2006 that features a character that is this important.
Well, and that's the key part, Ish. He's that important. He has been
so
the
important.
Robin. Well,
Arguably the most skilled Robin.
and in other mediums, like every single animated Batman film that they have brought out in forever, he has been one of the main Robins. He's had his own features. Like
Damian Wayne is, I don't know why this book is still on the table at the price that it's at. You got to go out, grab Damian Wayne while you can. And we're talking almost 20 years now that this book has been affordable. It can't stay that way for long.
no,
It can't. Damian Wayne is going to be marketed. He's coming to TV this year.
well, you can find those 9.8s for like $140. That's what I snatched that one at.
For which one? 666?
No, the 655.
I think
Like
I think with 655,
most
it's
people
the
buy
1
it
in 10
now
you want.
for like 200 plus. But if you catch them at auction,
$165.
yeah, people let them go cheap, man. It's crazy.
Rich, what I would suggest you do is find 656 in the highest grade you can possibly find.
Yep.
Stack it. Because I think so 655 is a true cameo.
Yeah.
It's a true cameo in the truest sense.
Mm,
So
I
if you're
agree.
not
It's the book, though. That's the book.
for now until the market adjusts. That 1 in 10, in my opinion, is the way you want to go on 655.
Oh, yeah.
And then you want to stack 656. I feel like people who stack, if you're going to stack 655, cool, just be ready to sell. Because I feel like people who stack 655 and leave 656 on the table are going to be kicking themselves in the butt, so to speak, down the line. This book has taken 20 years and it still hasn't blown. When it does blow, I think the market is going to favor 656. I think it's going to favor the first full appearance. That's just where I'm tending to lead. This book may not blow for another 10 years.
About all my data.
It's still affordable. It's anywhere between $35 to $45 for a high grade raw copy of it. You know,
That's higher than it has been lately, by the way. That's higher than it has been.
By a little bit.
By like, how much did you say it was? You should get that book for like 10, 15 bucks.
Okay, yeah, because now it's around 35 to 45 for a raw near mint.
Next character, sticking with DC, Cassie Kane. Sam dropped off the radar on that.
I was about to say, where'd Sam go? Sam, did your seat go down?
All right, so before you guys say anything, right?
Sam, I feel like you just shrunk down.
Like, how did Sam get shorter? Like, is that possible?
I want Ish to stop talking about my DC spec. That's
So-
what I want.
But first of all, before you guys tell me anything, your thoughts on Cassie Kane, let's say this. We confirmed potentially the deadliest combatant hand-to-hand in the DC universe. Certainly the most proficient and skilled combatant in the Batman family, right? Added to it, she kind of has powers, right? Like she can read people's body language and then use it to like outfight them or determine what they're gonna. It's like telepathy. So
she's like
Cassie
Taskmaster.
Kane, you know, the one who was nerfed all the way down into ridiculousness in the Birds of Prey film.
I see what you did there, babe.
So, what are our thoughts? What Cassie Kane?
My Batman, like most of my DC spec isn't based off of TV and stuff like that, but it's based on just character potential and popularity. Cassie Kane, it has huge potential.
Probably the most in the Bat
Beloved
family.
character by the comic community, especially fans of Batman. Like all of these Bat family first appearances, if they're cheap, buy them.
Cassie Kane's first appearance isn't cheap. Under $100 spec though.
That's cheap for a Batman
right.
first appearance character. I think a lot of these over time, and look at what is happening right now to Silver and Bronze Age Batman. The DC books that have bucked the trend of diminishing returns on DC, like they are skyrocketing. So you buy.
Taskmaster is what I would spec on if you're doing MCU spec.
No, she was saying Cassie Kane, like the skills like Taskmaster. For hand to hand and learning.
Well, Taskmaster has a photo reflexive memory. So he actually has abilities in the sense that Taskmaster can watch anybody fight for 10 seconds and completely mimic their style. Cassie Kane can read body language, so she can't necessarily mimic their style, but she can anticipate.
I was about to say she anticipates what they'll do.
What they're gonna do. It's almost like telepathy. She reads the language of body, so she can anticipate. She's not at that point where she has a photo reflexive memory. That doesn't mean she can't mimic it. She just can't read. Taskmaster can see it for 10 seconds and never have to see it again. He then knows it. It's a photo reflexive memory. So that's the deal with Taskmaster. Next character, Greer Nelson, Tigra.
I mean, she's in the MCU.
Well, a Greer is in the MCU for sure.
She's in the MCU. Come on now.
I mean, yeah, I expect that she's in the MCU because I don't know too many Greers.
We're gonna give West Coast Avengers. Let's face it.
I mean, she's a defender now.
Is
She's
she
about to. Yeah,
is she a
they're
defender before
she's-
the West Coast Avengers? Yeah.
no, but there's a new book dropping with Tigra in it because we haven't seen her in the pages of a Marvel comic book in some time. And her first appearance, the Cat #1, is getting tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. Very tough book to get. I just kind of randomly threw her in the mix. Nobody's specking on her right now, but Ian said it. You watch the Hawkeye show, there's a character named Greer in Hawkeye. It's either an homage to Greer Nelson or we're going to get Greer. I can't imagine why Kate Bishop Hawkeye would be a West Coast Avenger. That's something that is like way beyond me why they would put Kate Bishop on a West Coast Avengers team. But who knows what the MCU may do. We do get a Greer in the first episode of Hawkeye. And like, how many people are running around the world named Greer? Right, Darren said it. Try finding the Cat #1 in high grade with that black cover. Very difficult to find in high grade, but Tigra does have an affordable solo series in the form of a limited series. Tigra does have a really dope, affordable, we were talking about first solo series. You might want to go get all of those limited series that double as first solo series. Tigra. So I'm going to throw another character at you guys. I have a couple more characters I want to throw at. Obviously, some of these characters tie in to MCU spec. With the DC characters, they don't. Couple Image characters that I want to throw at you too. But before I get there, I have another Marvel character that I want to throw out there. Spider-Woman 2.
Yep. Wait. Who's the second one?
Spider-Woman 2. Black and white costume.
One.
Nope. Nobody has anything on Spider-Woman 2. Nobody has anything to say.
Well, what do you have to say, Ish?
I mean, I'm throwing it out there. So
I mean, we're getting the Spider-Verse.
I feel like anything.
I don't think
we
Spider-Woman 2 is a Spider-Verse character.
I think anything Spider you should probably get on.
I think though Sony may make her a Spider-Verse character. I don't think she's.
Sony needs to stop because Sony, their movies are just trash. They need to stop right now.
If there is a comic book that somebody killed a spider on, you need to buy it.
Well, so
Actually,
here's one thing I want to.
It may happen with Madam Web.
That's where I was going.
I was about to say I like what Darren said.
That's where I was going because what I don't see is Jessica Carpenter popping up in Edge of Spider-Verse. She has no place there. She has no business being in an Edge of Spider-Verse anything.
No.
At all. She predates all of that stuff. Just see no place for either of the two Spider-Girls popping up in an Edge of Spider-Verse book. They just have no business being there. They've been mainstays, in my opinion, for way too long. I mean, obviously they roll with Spider-Man
But
now.
she's the new Madam Web.
Well, I was getting there. That I was getting to. So, with the exception, and because Darren dropped it, Madam Web, and we've been saying it, at least I've been saying it at ComiXsense for a long time, that I don't think when Marvel casts Madam Web that they intend to stick with ancient Madam Web in a Madam Web film. I think she'll be in the film, and I think she'll pass the mantle on to
The next young
Jessica Carpenter.
Yep.
Who will become the new Madam Web. because she is Madam Web 2 currently in the comic books,
So
which
do you-
then would tie her into the Spider-Verse.
So do you think with the Emma Roberts casting, and I'm going to clarify, Emma Roberts,
Right. I think Emma Roberts is Jessica Carpenter.
which I agree with you.
I think that you want Secret Wars number 3. Secret Wars number 7. You want Spider-Woman's first solo limited series. Those are the 2 books you want. You probably want whatever issue Sam is going to tell us is the first appearance of Jessica Carpenter as Madam Web 2.
Wouldn't you want 6, 7, and 8? I mean, if you want the cameo, the first and the second. Marvel.
I don't care about the second or the cameo.
Okay, so it's only like so you want number 7.
I have number 7.
Oh.
I don't generally care. I mean, if you want to
this
put
is my shock phase.
if you want to put this the run together, for sure. I second appearances don't really matter to me, unless the second appearance doubles as a first cover appearance.
Like, say, example, Jubilee on the X-Men annual. Because
Right.
it's her second appearance, but it's her first cover appearance, though.
Right. Which X-Men annual?
What was that, 14? No, not 14. 15 or 16, I think.
I gotta look.
I may even be off on that, but I remember, that was the thing that I think that struck me is when I bought that. I'm like, oh, wait, so it's only a second appearance, but first cover appearance. And I remember you and Trobes actually saying at one point, if it doubles as both one and the other, then it's worth getting. So,
Corey James, the movie will probably suck.
So I think
It's a
that's
Sony
why
film.
I think that's why we're not going to get a Spider-Gwen in that Madam Web movie.
what about? Okay, Kim brought up a good point. What about Cindy Moon and Silk?
So before we get there, any Sony Spider-Man film is gonna.
Yes, because it's Sony.
Garfield route and reprise that stuff, which was pretty cool.
See, Sam was upset about that, and he just walked away.
Right. So
Because he was like, oh, Sony's just trash. I'm out.
I mean, Silk's getting a television show produced by Sony.
There's
What do
my
we got
spec.
here, Sam?
There's the spec.
Talk about it.
So it's not new spec anymore.
He's on the cover of Edge of Spider-Verse.
A lot of people have started reporting on it over the past probably 6 months. But Amazing Spider-Man number
I know,
12,
Darren. I'm right there with you, buddy.
first appearance of Spider-Man,
I'm sorry?
who had a TV show, Japanese Spider-Man, and this spider like Megazord / Gundam.
It looks
Left
I can't
Dragon?
remember what that looks like from what show I used to watch.
Imagine this coming into play in the next Across the Spider-Verse film. It would be the runaway hit, in my opinion. It would be absolutely incredible to see live. And I think the book has potential to go crazy and blow up.
That looks like a show I used to watch in the 90s called Superhuman Samurai Cyber.
Cyber Squad, yes.
That looks exactly what that looks like. Oh, man.
Yep. But this predates so many of the mech, things that we've seen. This is, Darren says it in the comments, is in the late 70s, I believe Japanese TV series, bringing Spider-Man over there. I read an article about how they did it. It was very interesting. Target did have a toy for it already, but imagine this in one of those animated movies. It would be mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Sam, keep going. You guys keep going really quick. I'm just looking for something I want to bring up.
And
Why are you talking about that?
To Silk
I'm
and
sure
Jessica
it's
Drew,
right.
I think that, or not Jessica Drew, Jessica Carpenter, I could see them bringing him into Across the Spider-Verse. Like, the history of all of these characters is just too much fun to maybe ignore.
That's where you want to get these first solo series.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that looks familiar, Ian. I got those.
Silk #1, and then if you could find the Comics Pro version of Silk #1, which is absolutely crazy in price. It's like a sepia toned
Yeah.
cover that is hard as heck to grab. And right now, Amazing Spider-Man #4, and the 1 in 10 is still staying strong at like the $750+ and 9.8. So I don't see it coming down anytime soon. In addition to, so we've got Spider-Man, you've got Noir's coming back, all those, but Captain Universe Spidey, I think, has potential. I think the Spider-Man from the Captain Britain Corps has a ton of potential. And there were a couple others that were key. I'll have to compile a list of them. And first appearances are all over the place. All over. Yeah, 2099, Darren. I mean, that thing is already on a tear, you know.
So I got a character here that, since you're talking about it, is very interesting because we're about to get her first cover appearance, and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get her first cover appearance in a 1 in 25 of an upcoming Spider-Man book. And I'm going to share the screen really quickly. This is a character who only appeared in a manga. She's a Spider-Man character who appeared in Deadpool Samurai manga. Yeah. Her name is Sakura Spider, and she has not appeared in a mainstream Marvel comic yet. I'm going to show you what she looks like since Sam would pulled up some really cool spec.
It's an expensive 1 in 100, right?
Yeah. You guys see her here?
Yep.
See her here in the corner?
Yeah.
Like a really expensive 1 in 100.
This is Sakura Spider, and it's not out yet.
Oh, I thought it came out.
The 1 in 100?
Yeah.
I don't think it dropped yet. I saw it on FOC a little. It may have. But it's her only cover appearance in an official comic. She appeared in the Deadpool manga, Sakura Spider. And
there's a Deadpool black, white, and blood.
Yeah.
That's the one you want. That's what I was going to bring up next. Go ahead, Sam, and talk about it.
So I currently have 4 copies of that book, and I keep finding them in $1 and $2 bins.
Good for you. I don't have a single copy. That's a great book.
Yes. Because I was just about to bring up the Black, White, and Blood.
Yeah,
that book gets you her first in-comic appearance of Sakura Spider, who, and it's very interesting, when she showed up on that racial variant, I thought to myself, there's a reason why they're really bringing her over, right? We'll probably see her. We have an upcoming Edge of Spider-Verse series. It's on FOC this week. I'm going to take this down. Where is it? How do I take it down here?
There's a lot of firsts coming. It's going to be fun.
Right. So the first Edge of Spider-Verse book covers Arana and Spider-Rex and Spider-Man Noir, right? Your boy, who you just showed, a lot of people don't know. If you look at the covers, he's on the cover. The mech, he's on the cover. He's pushed off into the background, but he's on that cover. So certainly we're going to see him. This is the last Spider-Verse story until they decide to do another Spider-Verse story. This one is called The End, right? Like the end of the Spider-Verse. Till they decide there's way too much money in the Spider-Verse stuff, and we get another Spider-Verse story at some point down the line, which we will. It's never over. It's too much money for Marvel in this Spider-Verse stuff. So yeah, Sakura Spider. We just wanted to throw that out there. Sakura Spider. Kim's asking, Spider-Man 2099. I want to talk about that really quick. Steve Orlando. If you guys didn't know, if you're not reading 2099 Exodus, the Avengers are coming. They just rebuilt the 2099 universe. They did this whole Exodus thing. It was subterfuge. They wanted us to think we were getting a Spider-Man book. Instead, we got the rebuilding of the 2099 universe. Every issue introduces new characters into this 2099 universe. The most recent issue gave us a full roster of Avengers, an overflowing roster of Avengers. I'm going to give you an interesting little tidbit, something that I like. These Spider-Man 2099 Exodus covers, you want the A covers because you get all the first appearance on the covers, but you want the connecting covers. You want the connecting covers because when connected, you get the first full cover appearance of all of these characters together in one full connecting cover. So if you can find them, go get these connecting covers. I just jumped on them yesterday. I'm really excited for what Steve Orlando is doing in this universe. So there's that. So yeah, Spider-Man 2099. That's I like the character. He's a Spider-Verse character now.
Mm-hmm.
So I like him. I think he's long overdue for another series. Do we think they'll ever introduce Gwenpool?
No.
I don't think so either. I mean, she's a mutant now.
Because she's a mutant, so that's the reason why they would never bring her into as Gwen. What would she be then if they were to introduce her? Not Gwenpool, obviously. So,
well, why wouldn't she be Gwenpool?
Well, I'm just saying because you said she's a mutant now, so why would they introduce her though?
Well, I don't think they'll ever introduce Gwenpool because I don't think the character outside of media, and they could. I mean, they could, right? We could get a Disney show about a girl who ends up inside of a comic book and knows that the comic book world she's in isn't real. I mean, it's not a bad premise for a show, right? Like, you got a teenage girl who's chilling at home in her room, and next thing you know, she's inside of a comic book, and she knows the comic book's not real. Thus, she's omniscient, right? Like, she knows everything about all the characters because she reads these comic books. She's a nerd. She knows everything about all the characters, so she's smarter than everyone else in this universe just because she knows everything about these characters, which is Gwenpool, right? This is Gwenpool. She's a character who ends up in a comic book and knows she's in a comic book. Talks to the writers all the time, the whole nine. That might be an interesting premise for a Disney show like standalone, right? Like, let's just throw Gwenpool into this multiverse world where we don't have to put her in mainstream MCU, right? We throw her into this, maybe not 616, but Earth TR in whatever, where they have counterparts of every character, and she just knows she's inside of a comic book universe. That it could be fun. Young teenage girls and even guys and us. I mean, I like Miss Marvel, might enjoy it and might like it, but do I think they'll ever introduce her into the MCU? No, because she'd just be running around breaking the fourth wall all day, like, period. Like, every time she's around, she has to break the fourth wall because she always knows everything is fake. She'd know I'm in a movie, and she'd be the only one, and she'd know everything about everyone in the movie. All the villains, all their motivations, like, she'd know everything. Do I think she'll be significant in comics at some point? Make sure you have Howard the Duck #1. Don't leave Howard the Duck #1 on the table. Yeah, but Deadpool mentioning the fourth wall versus Gwenpool knowing,
He just
like, that's her whole power base. Gwenpool's power base is based on the fact that she breaks the fourth wall.
Oh,
that's like the point of her power.
The fourth wall, so that's like 16 wall breaks. It's just Deadpool being a Deadpool. It's just him being a jerk. And
right. Gwenpool's power is breaking the fourth wall. She knows that's the whole basis of her power, is that she knows she's a comic book character. She knows everything about the characters around her, so that is her advantage. That's like her power set. All right, I'm going to throw another character out there. This one is going to be off the beaten path, but I want to hear some interesting, think there's going to be some interesting opinions on this, or there's going to be no opinions on this. We're not talking about speculative purposes. We're just talking about future of the character and value in the character's future. Conan.
Question mark, I guess.
Yeah.
Money.
Always money there, but
Money. Like,
We're
in terms of the future of the character, I don't know what we're going to get, but Conan has proven over the past couple of years, especially, to be really big dollars, you know? I think the next ones that are going to go is going to be the magazines, the Savage Swords. You already start to see some of the Dark Horse stuff, especially the hard to find variants, really doing well. What I think is ready to go crazy, and they already have started though, is Conan 23 and 24, First Red Sonja. So they can still be found reasonably if you find them out there in the wild. People don't know that they've absolutely gone bonkers in price, in graded prices. But yeah, I'm a fan. I like what they've done with Conan, but now Conan's also part of public, right?
No.
Isn't Conan like free use?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Marvel just lost their rights.
They lost their rights.
Yeah, but I thought it was because Conan is such an old character.
No, it's because the company that owns the rights didn't license them back to Marvel. They didn't renew the license.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, they have their own plans.
Marvel's still using Conan.
Yes, for Savage Avengers.
Got it.
So I'm going to throw a couple characters out really quick in bunches. These are going to be a clump of characters. IDW, G.I. Joe, Transformers.
I don't think you should talk about them because
Sam gets mad when I.
Right now there is an insane amount of meat on the bone.
Right. Hello.
For all Transformers, all G.I. Joe, because wherever they end up going, it is going to blow up.
Yep.
I know a shop.
They're going to Image is doing a one shot for G.I. Joe. Go on, Ian.
I know a shop that is sitting on 2 potential 9/8 G.I. Joe #1s.
Buy them both, and I'll buy one from you.
They're just sitting there.
Buy them both.
Anyone who walks in the store.
Sam wants both of them. Don't let him play you. Sam wants to buy both.
So yeah,
let's split them, Ian.
G.I. Joe, Transformers, IDW, not getting the license from Hasbro.
Beloved franchises, cult followings that they're gonna lose. And honestly, come back home to Marvel. It would be absolutely crazy.
I mean, I'd like to see him at Image Comics.
I mean, I get that, but could you imagine? Look at what it's done for Star Wars.
Darren brought up a question. What about Godzilla again?
I love the Godzilla, the original run, and those are expensive.
Yeah.
They went off.
Darren, if you're talking movies, no, the last couple were garbage. But comics, though, no, I mean, no. Godzilla always said there's this massive cult following.
Wait, what?
And then for IDW,
Godzilla vs. Kong was dope.
Stop.
It was dope. And they already just showed the teaser for the sequel. Man, Godzilla vs. Kong was dope, man. He gave Kong the business. It was dope. It was dope.
Darren's saying comics only.
Good man, Darren.
Like,
man.
If you
IDW is doing Godzilla right now.
Yeah, and if you try and find some of those older Godzilla miniseries that IDW first came out with, especially like Godzilla Goes to Hell by James Sticco, who is one of, I think, the best illustrators in the game right now. Just awesome reads, and some of the variants are pricey.
So there's always, in my opinion, going to be some speculative value in Godzilla.
Thank you, Jason.
Because so I'm going to put that up on the screen because
Jason, told you he could spec on comics.
Jay was wrong.
We'll see.
Jason,
Jay is wrong.
You, bro. Thank you.
We're not talking about the some Academy Award winning film, right?
No.
We're talking about just a good fight between Godzilla and Kong that went down
Fine.
the way it should have
Fine.
went down.
Fine. The fight
like-
scene was
It's okay.
great. Fine. You
That's,
could have
that's
made.
what we're talking
fine.
about.
You could have made a
This is a good
25
fight
minute thing
between
of just the
Godzilla
fight
and Kong.
between them, and that
Like,
was it. And let's be real here. Kong got beat. He got his A beat pretty bad.
well, see, I grew up in America, and in America, when we got the original version of this movie, because there were two versions, there was the Japanese version and the American version. In the American version, Kong beat Godzilla, which was done gratuitously. It was done gratuitously. It wasn't a true account of, and that's why I'm glad. That's why I'm glad. Say again. That's why I'm glad that this
Thank
movie
you,
was
bro.
done the way that it was done.
You said the
where-
movie was dope-ish. You said the movie was dope, but now you're saying just the fight scene. Nothing. You can't have it both ways, man.
I'm gonna put that up because just for Rich who doesn't read, and
I
for
read
Jason
that,
Robinson,
and I can
for
clearly
Jason
read
Robinson,
what he
it's
said.
recorded. It's recorded. So absolutely, I said that. But I said the movie was dope based upon the premise that the fight scene was dope. That's why, of course, I think the movie is dope. You can't have the movie without the fight scene. If you take if I take the fight scene out, I'm not gonna be able to say the movie was dope.
Can we?
I can't separate it, right? The movie was dope because of the fight scene. That's the reason why.
I'm gonna move us forward from bad movie reviews right now.
Yes,
So we got off topic. Sorry, guys.
the movie was definitely dope because of the fight scene.
Jason, that was funny, man. I'm glad you
Darren
called that out.
asks about Ultraman, which I think Marvel fumbled.
You think?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I mean, the comic?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I mean, I didn't read it.
Ultraman. Now the Ultraman #1 from what publisher was that? Darren, do you know what publisher that was? It's doing really well. It's doing well in 9.8s and high grade. And it's not
The original Ultraman?
the original. Yep. When they first did the comic, they were polybagged. That's the Sakura
Yeah,
And
no, I just
Is it
saw it
Harvey?
sitting down there.
#3, 1 in 100.
It wasn't Harvey, was it?
I don't
Who
know.
did the original Ultraman?
I don't think it was Dynamite.
No, it was
one of those
older.
offshoot.
It wasn't
No.
Harvey? Harvey didn't do the polybag?
So I like Ultraman. Matt Frank just put out a book this week, Red Man, which is in the vein of Ultraman, same art style. He fights Caillou. I like Ultraman. I think Ultraman is, because there's an Asian market for Ultraman, it's here to stay. Like, it's here to stay. You're going to continue to see streaming projects like the ones we see on Netflix. So I like Ultraman. I'm loving the words you're using tonight. Your vocabulary is superfluous. Wow.
You know what's been doing
I
really
feel like
well?
Kim is making fun of me.
Something books that I'm searching for every time I walk into a comic shop, but they are really hard to find now. Power Rangers. Power Rangers variants.
Go to Empire. Go to Empire.
Gutter Pop.
Did you just say no?
I'm talking about incentives, though.
They have
Yeah, and people all over the internet world can't go to Empire.
That's true.
So, like, we're talking to a large internet community, not a small one.
Here's the whole thing: you can reach out to them, and they will ship to you. They will sell you, like, through the internet.
But you go back to those when they launched the Boom series with those helmet variants for issue 0, and then a lot of the stuff that they've done, I would say the print runs drastically fell off in the 20s and on. So to find some of these incentives for the later issues, real difficult. I'm just trying to find some of the.
You're talking about the Boom series, right?
Yeah, man. Oh, if you want to go further back, good luck.
I mean, Higgins' run is the run.
I mean, go back to Marvel and go back before Marvel. Those books are expensive.
So
And
I'm never going to
they're gone.
argue with you on that. I'm not excited for the Power Rangers run. I know Higgins' run is the run. Of the definitive run. You should have Marvel Power Rangers #1, period.
And what they're doing in
period.
the universe right now, I just started reading again. Like, they're doing a really good job of continuing to build the future of such a iconic franchise.
Major first appearance about to drop in Power Rangers, by the way.
Ton of them.
Major first, but
Yep.
a big one about to drop this year.
And then go look at the first of like Lord Draken. Like absolutely crazy what those are going for now.
Mm-hmm. Cover appearances, which those just came out a couple years ago. 2 years ago. And they sat around at cover price for a while.
Yep.
They sat around for a while at cover price, and not anymore. Kyle Higgins, though, right?
Yeah.
So that's like he was writing the definitive modern era run of Power Rangers, and he carried it right over to the Radiant universe over there at Image. I would suggest
they got a Megazord.
Jason Robinson. That's it right there. Find those free comic book day, The Last Airbender books, because they do pretty well.
So let's talk about Moondragon really quick. Or cosmic side of the thing. First of all, Moondragon is one of my absolute favorite characters. The most powerful telepath in the Marvel Universe, hands down. There's not even a close second. One of my favorite characters, one of the deadliest fighters in the Marvel Universe. I love Moondragon. I'm very high on Moondragon. Phyla-Vell will probably show up in the Marvels. Maybe dragging Moondragon along with her. Certainly. How does the Marvels not at some point tie into a Guardians of the Galaxy film? When you look at how close the association is starting to get between the Marvel's Captain Marvel movie property and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, how do they not begin to tie into each other at the very least, right? With all of the Vels potentially popping up in Captain Marvel. We got accusers popping up in Captain Marvel. Her sister is an accuser, right? They fought an accuser in the first film. Her sister is Captain Marvel's sister is currently an accuser. Moondragon has a close association currently with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Moondragon and Phyla-Vell are a couple. Like I don't know. How do we not get at some point on film a tie-in between these two movies, between these two franchises? I really like Moondragon. I'm hoping to see Moondragon pop up in a Guardians of the Galaxy film or as a cameo in one of these Captain Marvel films. Professor X is a telepath. Kim. And according to people who love mutants, who love X-Men, they put Professor X as the most powerful telepath. Professor X isn't even listed as an Omega level mutant, even though they often say he's the most powerful telepath. Jean Grey is the only Omega level telepath listed. The White Queen Emma Frost is Omega class. However, Moondragon has been confirmed several times over to be the most. She can read the minds of gods. She can trick in. She made Galactus think she wasn't visible by going. That's how powerful her mind is, and she has no powers. This is all through meditation. She's a universal class telepath. That's just read up on Moondragon. Universal class telepath. Most recent run of Guardians of the Galaxy, they encountered a bunch of new gods, and they were able to sneak behind them because she just went into their minds and made them not see them. Professor X can't do that. Just saying. Yeah, he is a telepath, though.
All right.
We are getting a live action Thundercats. The book just popped up on Key Collector. We are getting a live action Thundercats. It just popped up on Key Collector, just went into development. So yes, we are getting a live action Thunder. It might not be live action, but we're getting another Thundercats property.
Meh.
I mean, I grew up in the 80s. You didn't.
That's true.
So.
Sam, you and I are the same age, bro.
I'm just saying. That's okay. I'd rather see a live action Voltron.
I mean, which one? The lions or the ships?
Give me the Lions.
I'll take the lions too, and I'll form the head. The ships was dope though. Like
Yeah.
I didn't realize how dope that was a more intelligent. Like the lions was dope. I love the lions cartoon, but as I was growing up and I was watching it, I'm like, I thought the ships one was boring. But then I realized later on it was just because it was just written for a higher level, like it was literally a Japanese manga translated to English. It was written for a higher level. Like the Lions was written for 80s kids, 80s cartoon kids who were coming home from school, eating candy and playing with their toys. You know what I mean? Do we think Eternals will play a large role in the MCU, or did the movie fizzle out any interest? I mean, yeah, they're going to play a major role.
They're the future.
Yeah, a major role.
They're the future. Number 1, number 2, number 4. Oh no, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 9. Buy them while they're cheap.
Yep, they're not cheap, but buy them while they're affordable. Eternals number 1 isn't cheap.
I
mean,
feel like it's cheap in comparison to where it was at right before that movie.
Especially because there's 100 keys in that book in those first couple issues, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about Captain Universe powers. Yeah. We're talking about all of the Eternals.
And then you have to, what is it? Avengers 232. If you aren't stacking those also, like, you're not ready for the, what's his name? Harry Styles, like, revolution to hit the MCU. It'll be crazy.
Break it down, man. Don't just cascade over it.
I mean, that's
stop and skate a while on it.
Star Fox, you know, first
heroes
as Star Fox.
That's Star Fox,
basically.
Yep.
In Avengers 232, huge book, a lot of potential, black cover. So hard to find in high grade. All of those Avengers in the 200 era, usually find them, and they're typically pretty beat. So when you find it in high grade, take care of it, grade it. It's going to be a huge book when he comes back around.
So Kim, and shout out to you, Kim, for for the participation. Some dope questions. So Kim, here's the thing. It is my opinion that Disney is not going to kill a franchise due to reception and reviews from the audience. They're using Eternals number 1 as a piece to launch into, like, they set up another Eternals film. They're not going to abandon it because of any. First of all, the Eternals isn't as bad as people think, especially the second watch through. The Eternals is I like the Eternals film. I watched it again. It gets better on the second watch through. I don't know what people's problem with that film was. I don't even know that it was a flop. I know it's critically panned, but I don't know that it wasn't successful as far as a return on their investment. I don't know that. I don't know those numbers. I'm not aware of that. I do know that the movie sets up another film, and for a reason, right? They're going cosmic. You bring in Eros, you're going cosmic.
I have a question that's not related whenever we're done with Eternals.
Go on.
What is the most ridiculous and just unnecessary book that you always buy? Like a book that is never going to do anything. You don't know why you always gravitate towards it and buy it. I'll give you an example. My buddy, and these books are actually pretty pricey, but every time he sees a Kool-Aid Man book, he buys it.
Oh, you mean ridiculous book, not just book that you always buy.
Well, but when you see it, you always buy it. I want to hear from people in the chat. I want to hear from all of you here, because you got to know when you hit a shop and you're digging through bins and you just see this book, you're like, that's another one. I got to buy it.
I mean, for me,
I'll give you my example right here. I have it in front of me.
Super Pro. I got a couple.
Sam, I got a copy. I'll give to you.
I got a couple.
Buy it. Always. I don't know why. It's awesome, but it's not.
So I have a few, but they're not ridiculous. Well, I guess
it's ridiculous in the sense that he gets it because there's nothing. It's NFL Super Pro. I mean, it's
All right, I'm gonna give you mine really quick, and I want to let someone else have the floor because I gotta run for a second, so I'm gonna let y'all run this really quick. I'm gonna give you mine really quick. So there's a couple, right? Classic X-Men #1. Not a ridiculous book, but they're all over the place. There's one right here on the wall behind me. I have them all over the place, just thrown around. Classic X-Men #1. X-Men Annual 10 is another one. I just have tons of it. Every time I see it, I have to buy it. Star Comics. If I see a Smurfs, if I see a Strawberry Shortcake, if I see any of those, I'm every time. I'll Barbie every single time. If I see any of that, oh yeah. If I see it,
Strawberry Shortcake,
you see me post them. Strawberry Shortcake, Smurf, any of those Star Comics, iconic 80s pop culture fabric stuff. Every time I see it, I buy it. Every time. I have tons of Smurf #1s, tons of Strawberry Shortcake #1s. And it's because I have this thing in my head where it's like, yeah, these things seem corny, but they are iconic parts of American culture.
See, like,
we're probably going to see them again.
If I ever found books like that ish, I would buy them instantly, but I never find them.
Oh yeah, Rainbow Brights, like I'll get them. You know what I mean? Like anyway. So I'm sorry.
I'm gonna drop mine, and then I'm gonna drop out and let you guys finish off for the night. Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, man. That's a great.
It is really
great.
My
first copy I bought on eBay, and the guy put in the description, it is a raw CGC 10.1.
Yeah.
I was sold.
I want to find a ton of them now.
Chuck Norris doesn't speculate on comics. Comics speculate on him.
And I just want to list it as like, this book could kill a man.
But all right, gentlemen, you guys have a good night.
Hey, shout out to Ian Michaels. Michael, thank you for joining us tonight. Listen, everybody, if you are watching on YouTube, peep the scroll at the bottom of the screen. Like and follow comiXsense on Facebook. Join our comiXsense Facebook group. If you are watching on Facebook, like or subscribe to our YouTube channel, comiXsense on YouTube. Again, like or unlike. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. But subscribe on YouTube. Shout out to those watching on YouTube. Shout out to everyone watching on Facebook. I'm going to let Sam and Rich Doesn't Read take the floor for just a minute, because I will be right back.
Rich, what's your book?
What, that if I find it, I just grab it every single time?
Yeah, every time.
Honestly, it's going to go between. It's going to be weird. It's Ren and Stimpy.
That's a good
Ren and Stimpy. Between that, okay, so it's between Ren and Stimpy. It's like a 1A, 1B on the Ren and Stimpy. That, and then it's Ren and Stimpy Powdered Toast Man #1. I've got a couple of them. They're not a ton of them in the wild, but I grew up watching Ren and Stimpy, and also Beavis and Butthead #1. I just found one over at Gutter Top last week.
That book is money.
It is. In #1, that's I think my second or third one that I've gotten for Beavis and Butthead. And again, for me, it's nostalgia. It's not so much, I want to flip the book and make money or this and that.
You might want to, though, because I'm pretty sure they're doing well.
They're doing well. I'm not saying that they're not. But for me, it's just one of those things where I like keeping them in my PC to say that I have 2-3 of them, because I see, like Darren and Trobes and you and Ish and everyone else. I see you guys pulling 3-4 copies of these books out that you guys got in the wild at great prices. And me personally, that's something that I guess it's something that I'm chasing a little bit. It's not. I don't have FOMO. I don't fear I'm missing out, except Ultimate Fallout 4. That's my only.
Oh, see, I have FOMO all the time.
I try not to let it go, because I haven't been in the in the spec game or in the comic game long enough for it to really affect me that way. But if I give it a little more time, it'll happen. Absolutely.
Jason Robinson asked a question. So if you woke up with superpowers tomorrow, would you be a hero or a villain, and why? Well, that's good, Jason.
I like that, Jason.
I like that, because usually it's like, what superpower would you want? But that's a very different question.
I'd probably have to say hero, because I'm the kind of guy that if I saw an old lady fall, I'm going to help her up. I hold the door open for Kim and my mom, and any woman I see going through that, I still hold the door open for them. So just my grandpa would kick my a-hole if I wasn't the hero. So,
You'd be like the Superman, the Boy Scout.
yeah, I don't want to be like Superman. I don't want to be like from The Boys.
Oh, dude, that
don't
show
want
is
that,
ridiculous.
man. You certainly don't want that.
I would,
I was about to say, what about you, man? I mean,
I would definitely be a hero. That's just like my nature. Like,
right.
I am like even at work, like I
Yep.
consider myself to be a servant leader. Like I'm there to support my team and my people.
Yeah.
If I had the power to do anything, I would try to help as many people as possible.
Right.
Sure. I think that's where the whole boys thing comes in. It's like, well, when do you start to capitalize on that?
Right.
Because at the same time, we love, collecting stuff and books and everything. So I don't know how that would interfere into
Right.
it. I'm sure it would creep in at some point.
Oh, I'm
But,
sure.
I'd start out as a hero at least.
Everyone starts out as a hero.
Exactly, Jason. That's it. That's it.
So what's the
so
quote?
for
Is
me-
that you either die the villain or you I
You
forgot
live-
how it goes.
You live
in
long
Batman.
enough
So-
to see yourself become.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's an interesting question that Jason asked, and I like that he put ultimate power corrupts. Absolutely, though. So for me, I believe that the pursuit of ultimate power corrupts. Absolutely. I don't necessarily think that the power does. Many people in positions of power, their character is called, so power, your character is determined by what you do when given power suddenly, right? Unexpectedly.
Right.
How you choose to operate and what you do when power is thrust upon you, or if you choose power versus turning away from it, right? Like many of the greatest leaders didn't want the power that they found themselves in possession of, right? They didn't actually want it. So that having been said, for me, right, I just believe in trying to be a good person, whatever that may mean. So when posed with the question, would I choose to be a villain or a hero? I would choose neither. I just wouldn't make that choice to proactively go out and be one or the other.
So you're
I
gonna be
would
like
probably just try to do what I thought was good when and where I could.
So you're like Hancock, like when Will Smith played that superhero, he didn't really do anything. He didn't want to be bothered. But when push comes to shove, yeah, he would do his part, but he didn't.
Not even necessarily when push comes to shove. And I agree. I see where you're going. But for me, it's just like I would try to do what I could when and where I could.
Okay.
Because sometimes what is good for one person is not for the next, right? Sometimes what is evil for one person is good for. So I mean, I don't know how you Maximus with all my heart. No, Marcus Maximus. That is why it must be you. Exactly, Corey James. Again, the greatest leaders that we've seen were people who wholeheartedly rejected the power that they found themselves in possession of. They didn't want it. And that's, so I do agree with that, and again, I just want to say, as far as ultimate power corrupts, ultimately or absolutely, I think the pursuit of such is what corrupts. It's pursuit. That's just my thoughts on that. But yeah, I would probably not choose to be one or the other and just choose to be me and hopefully be a good enough person that I do some good things here and there. I'm certainly probably going to mess up and do some bad things. You know what I mean? But I'm just going to strive to be good with whatever power I woke up with. Hopefully I just wake up with invisibility and you can't see me. Copyright infringement.
They're just going to call him the Magic Man. Now you see him. Now you don't.
I mean, my number one power would be teleportation.
Yeah.
I just want to instantly be in another place.
Sam's going to appear halfway in an object and halfway out of an object. I like intangibility, invisibility. I always thought I'd like telepathy, but I don't think I want to invade anybody's personal space. And that's super personal.
Oh.
I don't want to hear any of that.
No, I have enough
Yeah, those
voices in my
thoughts.
head. I don't want to deal with everyone else's. Nah.
Y'all would end up at Herogasm 23. Somebody said, on the ComiXsense group, immortality. Now, when you talk
Vandal
about things like that,
Savage style,
say again.
like Vandal Savage style.
I mean, but you'd have to get eternal youth, right, to go along with immortality, or you just become like a raisin.
I don't think I would want that.
Eventually, you just wither away. I mean, you're alive, but like you want to die. You know what I mean? Without like immortality with youth attached to it, right? Like you'd have to stop aging as well.
I was about to say, if you don't have this, without the aging process part, like what, you're going to look like you're just an old withered up like baseball mitt.
Right. Like you wish for immortality, but not eternal youth, or
but also, but if the rest of your friends and family and your circle of friends and you're close to everyone, like if they're not with you, then what's the point? Then you just get to live and never. I don't know.
I've read a story like that some years back. Shout out to Ten and Air of Duel, the book My Soul to Keep, about a guy who was essentially came from a clan of people that they were immortal, and his sadness was that he outlived tons of his children, tons of them, like over and over and over again. He just outlived them, which was like his eternal sadness. You can get sick, hurt, or maimed, though. Yeah, like Apocalypse, you have to regenerate every century. So yeah, I was done with the name game anyway. I was done with that game. I think this was really cool, really fun. We've been going for like 2 hours, and I didn't even stick to the structure of the show. I had a whole outline and a whole structure, but we just got together and we're all just kind of filling each other out. This is only the second time we've done comiXsensory perception, so we're just kind of filling each other out, feeling our chemistry, enjoying talking shop. Sometimes we'll just let it go where it goes. Conversations develop organically, and we love interacting with the community. We love interacting with people who throw up messages. So we're always going to do that. I like this particular flow. What do you guys think?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was fun.
I like shows like this.
Yeah.
Rich doesn't read popped out. So we lost Ian. It's 11. I know, Sam, you got the little ones you probably have to tend to. Definitely getting late.
Hopefully they're sleeping, because she was in my lap at like 10 and she goes,
it was awesome.
Be on TV, and she popped
up.
Awesome.
I have friends who watch and they're like, oh, every time Sam's kid comes in, it's so cute. You know what I mean? So it's awesome.
Like, I want to be on the television. Okay.
Shout out to her. She's like, yo, okay. I'm getting a cameo appearance. Second cameo appearance, by the way. This is not a first full yet, because we're not getting fulls yet. We're not getting full appearances yet.
That's like another episode or two. Then you get the full appearance.
Then I'm going to give her a cover appearance. I'm going to replace Comicsam on one of these covers with. So yeah, it's gonna be a cover appearance. So yeah, shout out to everyone who participated. Shout out to everyone who's watching on YouTube. Shout out to everyone from the ComiXsense community on Facebook. Shout out to the ComiXsense community, crowd, crew. Shout out to you all. Again, just so that we keep the lights brighter, like and follow ComiXsense on Facebook. Join our ComiXsense Facebook group. Jump over to the YouTube page. Subscribe to ComiXsense on YouTube. Subscribe to ComiXsense on YouTube. Like the video or thumbs down the video. Have y'all ever considered coming up with a storyline for a comic and shopping it? I think we've all done that at some point in time in life as comic collectors, right? Even if we never considered shopping it or actually writing it out, I think we've all created a character that we thought was cool, or came up with a concept, or were inspired by something that we read or our favorite books. I think, and I don't want to speak for the entire comic community,
but something that we should talk about though at some point.
I mean, I've done it by profession some years ago, and I just gave it up. Like, I created an entire universe, and
maybe that's something we
moonlight as a writer. So
right there. We bring up maybe that's something we bring up next show. Ish's past ventures in the comic book industry.
I mean, maybe. I know one of the shows that we got coming up on ComiXsense Presents, I think Sam is going to jump on that show with me. We are going to talk specking covers. That will not be on ComiXsensory Perception. We're going to be talking about the history of covers, specking covers, why first cover appearances suddenly matter. We're going to be exploring all those things. I just threw that in Sam's lap because he didn't even see that one coming. But we are going to be talking why.
Just went into my specialty.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk. We're going to do an entire show.
I know every cover.
Say again?
I don't spec tons of covers, but I know a lot.
We're going to talk specking covers. Is there a market in specking covers? First cover appearances. Why suddenly first cover appearances matter? Which is interesting, and we'll get into that on the show. First cover appearances suddenly matter, which means there's 1,000 Silver Age and Bronze Age cover appearances that are still on the table.
And just a little preview on that, I would argue to say that the whole variant game is built on the specking covers culture that is taken over.
You're doing too much, bro. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. This is one time I get to tell Sam he's doing too much.
He wants you to pump the brakes a little bit.
Get ready. Get ready.
Ready.
It's gonna be crazy.
So for those who don't know, when we do ComiXsense Presents, shouting out the YouTube community and all of those who will watch this video, because y'all gonna watch this video because ComiXsense is not gonna. Listen. We're coming. We're coming. We are coming. We are going to consistently be on YouTube. We've been on Facebook. We've been doing this. We do this. So for those who don't know, when we drop these ComiXsense Presents videos, we get in. You get real spec. We're not talking off the hip spec, off the cuff spec like we've been doing this particular stream, just chilling and talking shop. We go in. We give you real spec, and we get very serious and in-depth about specific topics. The topic we're going to cover is specking covers. It's going to be called Cover to Cover. Look out for that particular ComiXsense Presents coming up as soon as Sam says, "Hey, Ish, I can do this." Sam's going to want to do some research. I'm going to do some research.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm already ready.
All right. Well,
Sam's always ready, man.
We'll figure it out offline. So again, one more again. I want Rich Doesn't Read to give y'all the last word. I want Comicsam to give y'all the last word. We're gonna get ready to close it out.
Guys, I appreciate you guys all, tuning in and listening and watching to us and everything that we do. Always tune into ComiXsense on Tuesdays, man. We always give you the good stuff. We always give you the best prices anywhere. You don't trust us? Take a look. Watch us. Trust me. You'll see it.
Follow me on Comicsam's Collects on Instagram. Follow me at Comicsam on Whatnot. Watch ComiXsense. I mean, Ish is going crazy multiple times a week, putting out some fire spec, and also these boys are giving you the best deals, hands down, on Tuesdays on weekly books. Do not sleep on it. So, but I'm just happy that you invite me in every week to talk some shop.
Man, you're part of the family.
The best part of my week when I get to, actually talk books and, my passion with each and every single one of you. I appreciate the community that continues to come in the comments. I can't wait to meet all of you someday. A couple of you at New York Comic Con, which will be fun. But I'll see you next week. Ish. So.
Like and follow ComiXsense on Facebook and join our ComiXsense group. Head on over to YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thumbs up or thumbs down the video. That having been said, first and foremost, shout out to the ComiXsense crowd, community, and crew. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone who's commented, who's watched on Facebook, who has watched on YouTube. Shout out to the community. Special thanks to Ian Michaels. Shout out to the homeboy Rich Doesn't Read. Shout out to Comicsam. This has been ComiXsensory Perception. I am Issue X.